Welcome to this week's Dairy News 7x7, your bulletin on the latest and most meaningful developments shaping India's dairy sector. This week opened with a global health alert: microplastics found in cheese. As a University of Padua study detected over 1,000 particles per kg in aged varieties, raising questions on dairy safety and packaging. In innovation, NTU Singapore and MIT scientists have developed antibiotic-free antimicrobials that could prevent bovine mastitis and support India's FSSAI residue-control goals. A new study reassures traditional drinkers that milk fat still matters. Consumers associate creaminess with health and purity, making moderation the new mantra. And policy momentum continues with the PM Dhanya Krishi Yojana promising improved infrastructure, credit access, and value chain support for dairy farmers. This is Kuldeep Sharma, bringing you this week's pulse of India's dairy sector. And that brings us to the story everyone in the dairy business is watching closely, and which is the pulse question of the week also. What do the second quarter results of India's top dairies tell us? It's been a quarter of resilient revenues, squeezed margins, and structural transformation. Let's decode what the numbers reveal and where India's dairy industry is heading next. In second quarter of FY25, 5 leading dairies, Nestle India, Hudson Agro, Heritage Foods, Dodla Dairy, and Parag Milk Foods, reflected the pulse of India's organized dairy sector. Revenues grew 8 to 11% YOY, but margins tightened under higher milk procurement and feed costs. Nestle India led with revenues of 5,644 crores, followed by Hudson at 2,030 crore, while Heritage, Dodla and Parag saw steady growth in value-added products like curd, cheese and ghee. Firms with larger VAP portfolios such as Parag and Heritage achieved better realizations, with VAP contributing up to 35% of revenue. Dodla Dairy maintained an edge through regional sourcing and lower logistic cost, preserving 9 to 10% margins compared to 6 to 8% for peers. Nestle, despite a 17% year-on-year profit dip, sustained a robust 21% EBITDA, owing to its diversified FMCG portfolio, even as it undertakes global restructuring with 16,000 job cuts to boost efficiency. Dodla and Parag displayed relative margin resilience thanks to efficient procurement, higher margin product mix, and focused regional operations. Nestle retained the highest margin by virtue of its non-dairy and premium portfolio, brand pricing power, and superior supply chain efficiencies. Heritage and Hudson faced greater pressure due to procurement spikes and more commoditized product mixes, though Heritage VAP pivot cushioned some impact. Performance was shaped by steady consumption, value-added growth, and rising input cost. Urban and semi-urban demand remained strong, boosting sales of curd, cheese, ghee, paneer, and flavored milk. Nestle India's diversified portfolio ensured volume-led growth and record domestic sales despite margin strain. Value-added products VAP acted as a buffer. Heritage 14 to 15% year-on-year VAP growth and Parag's cheese and ghee focus improved realizations and protected profitability. Milk procurement costs, however, rose across regions, squeezing margins for Heritage and Hudson, while Nestle partly offset inflation through pricing and brand strength. Operational discipline proved crucial. Dodla's regional sourcing model and tighter logistics helped sustain 9 to 10% margin, while larger peers relied on scale efficiencies to maintain profitability despite declining year-on-year profit trajectories. Overall, Q2 highlighted how efficiency, diversification, and product mix defined performance amid a volatile cost environment. GST2 may reshape the dairy sector's cost and compliance structure in Q3. Enhanced invoice matching could curb GST leakage, but temporarily raise compliance and working capital pressure, particularly for farmer-linked and cooperative models. Short term, this could delay price pass-throughs, squeezing margins as firms absorb higher cost. However, in the medium term, organized players like Nestle, Hudson, and Heritage stand to gain from formalization, stronger credit access, and smoother tax flow, potentially driving sector consolidation. In Q3, a seasonal milk flush may soften procurement costs, offering margin relief, yet GST2 compliance load alongside persistent feed and energy inflation could offset gains. Companies with robust value-added portfolios and tighter financial systems are best placed to navigate this transition and sustain profitability amid regulatory tightening. India's dairy exports continue to show promise in whey, milk powder, and ghee, but global commodity swings and freight logistics costs influence realized margins. For many mid-sized players, exports act as incremental growth levers, not core margin drivers, except where companies have dedicated export strategy. For example, Parag's cheese exports. Nestle global moves. The group's global decision to cut 16,000 jobs signals rigorous cost discipline and efficiency drive. While this is a global corporate event, it signals potential further supply chain optimization and cost control measures that could percolate into Nestle India's operations and benchmarking. India's dairy sector remains an attractive, resilient story. Strong domestic consumption, cultural embeddedness of milk, and rising demand for processed dairy. Q3 will be shaped by seasonal milk supply, how fast procurement costs normalize, GST2 compliance drag, and how firms translate margin pressures into product and operational pivots. Nestle's global cost actions are a reminder. Efficiency remains non-negotiable. For India's dairy players, the winning playbook is clear. Scale the high-value portfolio, lock long-term farmer partnerships, and invest in low-cost cold chains. Those who do will not only survive the current margin cycle, they will shape the next decade of India's dairy renaissance. The closing thought remains as efficiency, traceability, and value addition are the new currency of competitiveness in India's dairy sector. And with this, on behalf of my family and Team Dairy News 7x7, I, Kuldeep Sharma, wish all our viewers and audience a very happy and purposeful Diwali. Thank you.